See ya. Hey, Tessa, how are you?
Oh, good, thanks.
That's
So
good.
missed
Yeah,
most of it by the sounds of it.
that's okay. I have recorded it. I'll put that up there. But were there any sort of questions or I'm happy to go over anything if you had anything in
Hmm.
particular that
Well, I tried I must admit I didn't give it enough time, but I tried a one word image, I think it's called, is it?
yes, yep.
Today with my year sevens.
Mm,
So I kind of haven't done it much CI as I'd like with year seven.
mm,
I don't know. It's first term, so it's the first time I've had them.
yeah, yeah.
Um, and I kind of just fell into that pattern of,
Yeah.
okay, so you teach はじ
Mm,
めまして、お名前は何ですか? I kind of didn't know how to teach that stuff
mm,
to AI.
mm,
And then, so I thought, okay, I got to get out of this, same old give
yeah.
worksheets pattern. So I thought I'll try this one word image today. And I only had like three kids participating.
Really?
I just couldn't get the other kids to to join in.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know. It just felt really flat, and I was like, oh.
Mm. Yeah, yeah. What did they create? What was it?
So I didn't have a lot of time, so I
Mm.
said, let's choose an animal.
Mm.
So we ended up with a panda,
Mm-hmm.
and then we chose some colors. So it was a green and pink panda,
Yeah.
and we were just working on the name. So I had a
Mm.
couple of suggestions for the name,
Mm.
and that took an excruciating long amount of time because they
Yeah.
just weren't answering. Like they were just staring at me. I was like, this is
Yeah. I'm
odd.
wondering, I've had something similar, Tessa, and I'm wondering whether it's worth, ex like not in great detail, but just explaining um, what it is that you're going to do in English, obviously, um, that this is what we're going to be creating something. It's going to be, um, it's your chance to be really creative and you can be a bit silly. And then I just like to say, research has proven that when we things stick in our head, when we are involved in it and when we can, we have ownership over something. So, and if something's
Mm.
really funny or interesting, if it's boring, we're probably not going to remember it. It's going to make it harder for us to
Yeah.
learn. So just something simple like that to say, look, making a funny story or a funny character is one way that we trick our brain
Mm.
into um, uh, being distracted with the story or the creation that it doesn't even feel like it's working. It should be really, really easy. We should be just, but again, I talk about that 50%, I do, you do sort of thing. My job is
Mm.
to make it as really as comprehensible and as easy as possible. And I will do that by speaking really slowly to give your brain a chance to understand this new sounds. I'll do it by pointing to the words to help you.
Mm.
I might do a translation of a word if you're not sure, like it's green. Midori desu, and I'll
Mm.
help you that way, or I'll do a gesture to say, this means it is something. It's not something. So I'll do that.
Yeah.
That's my 50%. Your 50% is you've got to get involved. And I put it back on them and I say,
Mm.
you know, um, researchers said this is the best way to do it. If we are telling stories and we're creating things together, it's easy for our brain. It's like, it's the easiest thing that we can do to learn a language. So that's why I'm doing it like this. But I do my 50%. If I'm talking too fast, or if I'm talking and using too many words that you don't understand, I'm not doing the job right. Sorry, sorry. Here,
Sorry.
come here, come here.
No,
Sorry, I thought we were
that's all right.
going
All
to get
good.
away with it.
I don't know why my here. No, that yeah, and I thought
Yeah,
afterwards, I thought maybe I rushed it a bit much because I haven't done as much CI
mm,
kind of stuff as I'd like with them.
yeah,
It was too new for them. I didn't
yes,
explain it well enough.
yeah. I just today watched Margarita Perez Garcia. I'm not sure whether you're familiar with her. She's a Spanish teacher and a
Yep, yep.
author. She's fabulous.
She's in Australia, right?
Yeah, yeah, that's
Yeah,
right. Yep. And she posted, if I can find it, I'll try and share or something. But it was a
yeah.
really good snippet of her classroom doing a one-word image. And they were, I think, year sevens, they were beginners. They'd only had a very short amount of time in Spanish. And, she really coached them. And she said to someone who was asking, how do you get such um, committed choral responses? And she says, I insist on it. So you've got to teach them that this is the expectation, we're
Mm,
doing this together. And she says, I don't accept mumble. And they were
yep,
all, you can hear them, you know, it's in Spanish, but I could work out what this, is it red? No, no. What color is it? And you
yeah.
can hear them saying it.
I just wonder, like, I don't know if this is just me being a bit jealous. Do you think it's easier? Because as you said, have you studied any Spanish?
I've done a little bit of Spanish, yeah, and there's
Yeah.
lots of cognates, yeah.
A lot. Even words like roja, like red, it's sort of, you can kind of link it to words like rouge and stuff. Like there's,
Mm,
and I just wonder how much more difficult it makes us. Like or acai doesn't sound at
yeah.
all like anything in English that you can link red to,
And I
you know?
think there, I totally agree with you. We are at a disadvantage there, and I encourage the use of cognates as much as we can, like
Mm,
pizza and whatnot, pinku. But I think also what she was doing is she had this really small amount of words that she was using in lots of different ways, but it was um, the word count of the times that she said particular words, you could hear it. It
yeah,
was circling really, really well. It was, but I mean, I take your point 100%. I think that that's something that us as Japanese language teachers, we don't have that luxury. But
mm,
she was very animated. That's her personality, I know, but she was very animated, and but she really circled well.
mm,
She was recapping. They'd created this one word image, and she had stuff on the board, words on the board, but this was a
mm.
recap, and it was really impressive.
Yeah, I was watching one. I can't think who it was. It was someone who was quite like you probably know the name if you heard it. I just can't think who it is right now. I watched them in Spanish again do a one word image and the same like she was very energetic
Mm.
and doing like theirs was a hot dog
Uh-huh.
that they did and doing all these gestures and she had it set up. I mean she obviously had this class for a little while because they had all these call and response type things.
Yeah. Yeah.
So and then she had some kids whose job I think was to call out something when she said a particular word.
Yeah.
And it was really impressive to see all
Mm.
these kids doing it.
Mm.
Um, and
And
I wondered, I was like, maybe I haven't done enough
yeah,
background work to get them to the point
yeah.
of doing it.
I think it definitely is, it's a skill that we just need to, start small and build up and you know,
Mm,
give give ourselves time to do that. Because yeah, all of those things do help, but I think trying to do it all at once is going to be
yeah.
but definitely like one call and response, like um uso, or, um, I mean, I straight away start with, so desu ka? And like they
Mm,
pick that up so quickly.
yeah. I
Um,
mean, do you know any sort of the clever one? So like I don't know why this one sticks in my head. It's a Spanish one, so they say cascada, and everyone goes shh and does like a waterfall
yeah, yeah,
gesture.
yeah. I do san ni ich taki. Shh. So we
Okay.
count down from three and then we do
Mm.
waterfall taki. Shh. The other one I just do ichi ni san yongo roku. That's what
And they
uh,
count the back. Oh, that's a
or
good one.
achoo, and they say daijoubu.
Mm,
That
okay.
there are a few that yeah,
Yeah.
I think but I
Sorry, Tessa, can I jump in if you don't
Yeah,
mind?
cool.
I think a few years ago when the AIM course, the lady who, yeah,
Yeah.
I think it was back in 2016, I attended the very first one. She used like she sings it out like, she sings Sensei o mite, and then everyone has to respond Hanashi o kite. I used that quite a bit at
oh yeah,
at
Oh yeah, that's a
that
good
time.
one.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. So
that's a good one.
yeah.
Sensei o mite, and
話を
everyone
聞い
says,
て and the kids have to respond 話を聞いて
Yeah,
okay,
yeah,
that's cute. Yeah.
very cute. Yeah,
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 and then with numbers, I teach primary school. I think there's a numbers song from some kids TV, so I just get the kids to record. If I sing 123, they have to go 123. By the time I get to 10, they have to like really um calm down
Mm.
and look at me. Yeah,
I find it harder in year seven to get that kind of
I know, they get
like
little the
they're getting too
teenager
cool.
syndrome.
that's right. Too cool for school. Yeah,
And I've in this particular class, I've got a two very reluctant boys
Hmm.
who sort of sabotage at every chance.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
I have those in year 5 and 6.
yeah.
oh, no doubt,
Start
no doubt.
early.
Can you
Yeah.
can you wrangle them in and give them a job? Like,
I've
uh,
had some success with it. It depends on the day.
yeah,
And
yeah,
if I only get one of them,
mm,
perfect, no
yeah,
problem. But
yeah,
when I have both,
yeah.
and they're obviously the healthiest kids in the world, so
Yes, of course.
what is there? Yeah, if I have both, it's so hard because they kind
Mm,
of feed off each other. So
yeah, yeah,
yeah, but give
yeah,
it another shot because I'm yeah, I'm finding Jiko Shokai is not super interesting,
yeah,
really.
yeah,
So I thought, okay,
Let
we
me
make this
try.
character and then we can use that as our introduction person. We'll give them all the
yeah,
things that we know. And but yeah, we only got as far as pink and green.
yeah. The other thing that I'm wondering might help too is I can remember one of my first one-word images, and uh, it was a panda, and I've had much more success with inanimate objects like a toaster. We had a slice of
Mm.
pizza. What else was there? There was a flip-flop, a drink bottle. Like it, just the more absurd, it
Yeah.
was.
So
Um,
I gave them a choice between an animal and a thing, and they
yeah,
wanted to do, but they
okay,
only suggested animal. So maybe next time I'll offer something.
yeah, just might be interesting. I don't
Mm.
know whether that has any merit in it at all, but I
Yeah.
do, yeah, wonder
Um,
might be worth trying something like
and
complete.
I need an artist. I think that brings an interest in it too.
Mm,
If I was drawing it for you.
yeah, yeah. And then when speaking of artists and another way for you to provide input and to recap um, like if you wanted to, um, maybe you could create as a bit of a demo to give them a bit of an idea of what you want them to create together.
Mm.
You could do you could do one, do it like a listen and draw. So, if they've got whiteboards, they could draw, as you're describing it. So you could say, this is Sensei's choice today. See how you go.
Mm.
And so you could give it and keep it really scaffolded with words on the board or the colors. I'd keep it really simple. I think Margarita's was, she said we did numbers 1 to 5 and we did, a couple of different colors. But
Yeah.
they could then draw what they, and then you can use some of their drawings to recap again. Was it um, was it a red was it a red pen or was it a blue pen? Oh no, it was a red pen,
Yeah.
or did it have one nose or two noses? If you were drawing it, but do a simple one maybe to give them a bit of an idea of what you're looking for.
Yeah.
And then, they're also showing comprehension by their drawing, and then they can explain it tell me in English, tell me about our special pen, and get them to, tell you what they picked up, what they comprehended. Yeah. Maybe something to try.
How how much would you do in one sort of session, I guess?
Let's,
Since I did it last year with my year 8s, I tried one
yeah.
and I think I went into too much
That's
detail.
Yeah, that is an easy mistake and one I have done many, many times too. Less is more is my mantra now, and yeah, I think especially if with your 7s, I would keep it to things that are like use as many cognates as you can. Like Hollywood ni imasen. Where do you live?
Mhm.
I don't know, vanilla or Melbourne ni imasen, Great Barrier Reef ni imas. And, so lots of cognates and then
Mm.
saying not only like not adding more details on, but using the negative to get more reps. So
Yeah.
they live in, he's in, the pen's in Great Barrier Reef. It's not in Uluru. It's also not in Hollywood. Where is the pen? The pen's in Great Barrier Reef.
Yeah.
So really you're saying a lot, but not too much detail, if you know what I mean. You're getting lots of reps of that language chunk. Um, or, is it,
Mm.
and you can give them, you might think that 2 colors is enough, Oh, is the pen's name Brian or is it do you think that it's Bryony or is it Brian? And they might sort of say, but you're telling the story. It's your character in this situation. No, it's not Brian. It's Bryony, and Bryony's got, so with the body parts, maybe, stick to 3 things because you can certainly gesture those.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, and recap it. But
Yeah.
yeah, less is more, short answer. But yeah, just try to, um, I get more mileage when I do the negatives, Was he
Yeah.
in, was he in
I
Zimbabwe?
was trying to do choices because I was the article that I'd read about it was talking about how they rather than giving them, heaps of choice because there's almost too much,
Yeah.
they would just give them 2 or 3 kind of, so is it black and white or is it black
Mm.
and purple? Like they would keep it more like either or questions. So I was trying to do that,
Yep.
but yeah, I just wasn't. Yes, it was very sad. I wasn't getting much
Yeah.
buy-in.
Yeah, yeah. And look, don't write it off just yet. I think possibly, it was probably a combination of a few things. If you said you're short on time and you might have, been rushing it or using too much language, or they just didn't know what their role was in this
Yep.
new thing, this new style of things. Like it is very different to here's a worksheet and you do it. They all know what they need, most of them
Yeah.
know what they need to do. Their role is sort of defined. But with CI, I think it's almost like they need to be given permission to
Yeah.
just,
Well, that's the other thing. If you do something like a one-word image, do you um invite everyone to make a comment, or do you sort of pick people, or is it just,
yeah.
like how do, because
Mm,
yeah, but sometimes I get too many people answering, often I get nothing, or I might have, 5 different responses and it's, do you
yeah.
vote on it then? I sort of,
Yeah.
I haven't got a good way of
System.
managing that
Yeah.
yet.
Yeah. And that's it is a it does depend on, there's many different ways to do it, and I guess it will depend on you, but also on the given day, the class. So I like to just sort of have a couple up my sleeve, but I might sort of when I started using story asking, I explained
Mm,
the process to the kids briefly and said, this is how we're going to create a story, I'm going to, tell the story or create the character. And, if I want some suggestions, I might, do this. And that means you can, give me a suggestion. But it's my, I'm in charge, so I'll choose. And I choose then try to strategically choose if there's you get a few different suggestions, and you can generally pick up which one's going to have the most following, I suppose.
mm,
Not that it's a not that it's necessarily a popularity thing, but just I think trying to find one that a response that you get a little bit of murmur from the class.
yeah, like a
Or,
chuckle or something.
yeah,
Yeah.
a bit of a chuckle, that type of thing, and then I'll think, okay, well, yeah, they're on to this sort of thing. Or maybe there were two, and you might sort of say, hmm, was his name, Marty, or was it, and then you could vote that way. So it I would try and I'm always conscious of trying to keep it moving so that there is a good pace
Yeah.
guide, so that we don't sort of get too hung up on votes and things like that, particularly if they're learning the ropes of it. So maybe if you can, I think to start with, gauge and see, no, it wasn't that. So it's almost like you're making them guess what you're thinking. No, it
Mm,
wasn't that. No, it wasn't Brian. Who else could it be? Is it,
yeah.
no? Um, and then if they're not responding, I would then perhaps just do a little timeout and say, okay, am I doing my 50%? Am I going slow? Am I pointing? Am I doing gestures? Um, Okay. Are you doing your 50%? And just do a little check-in and say, okay, what do we need to do? Yep, we need to all be on board. And
Yeah. Because so when you're asking them for a detail,
mm,
so if you're saying like, is it Brian or is it Michael or whatever,
mm, mm.
are you expecting in that case, because you've decided it's Brian and now you're checking whether they understand, is it Brian or is it Michael?
Mm.
And then are you expecting everyone to chorally respond to that one?
Uh,
Like, is there a bit where there's a choral response and then there's just
yeah.
individual
Once,
suggesting?
yeah. So once the detail's been decided, like you can say, hi, um, Dwayne des, Brian Janai Dare desu ka?
Mm,
And you could ask, a couple of your high flyers, um, you know, Irene-san, Brian desu ka? And then hopefully she'll say, yeah, Dwayne des. Hi, Dwayne des. Minasan, dare desu ka? And then you get them too. And then if they was like, dare desu ka? And I coach them that way to, okay, yeah, dame desu, dare desu ka? And just really insist on it so that there's that strong, and once they get used to that strong, there's safety in that too. So most of them, you know, um, find it's a good safety in numbers, that they're
Yeah,
responding
they're
together.
not standing out. I
Yeah,
think that's what a lot of them, they don't want to stand out,
I
most
don't
of
want to
them.
stand out. So if we can encourage them to be, yeah, more working as
Acting in a
a
group.
team, and that takes the pressure off. You're not going to be, um, you picking an individual who needs to, rattle off in Japanese everything about this person. It's, yeah, we're doing this together. But when I ask a question, yeah, I structure it like when I say minasan, and then everybody's, hi. So minasan, hi. And then, that there's hi. Minasan, hi. And then we can keep going on. So it's one of those things I think they need training in themselves,
Definitely.
how to respond.
Okay. All
Mm.
right. I'll keep going next week. I'll give it another crack.
Sorry, what was that, Tessa?
I'll keep going. I'll try and get our panda off the ground a bit more.
Yes, yes. Yours was a panda too.
Yeah, they penguin and panda were the two that came up.
Okay, rightio.
And
Yeah,
these guys haven't been introduced to any of your novels yet, so I
yeah. Okay.
don't know
Um,
why they just gravitated towards those.
yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's funny because mine was the pink panda, and I just couldn't seem to get it off the ground either. That's funny. Yeah. But yeah, good luck with that one. Try a few of those little tweaks this week, and let me know next Tuesday how it goes.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're here,
Sure.
or send me a message. It'd be good to know if you get another chance to see how they run with the next go.
Yeah, I think I'll definitely do more of an explanation of what
Mm,
I expect from them.
yeah,
I think that'll help.
yeah.
Well, thank you very much.
Itashimashite. My
Nothing.
pleasure. And thanks for popping in, Irene, too. And
Thank you.
yeah, we'll see you next week and
Yep, see you in Melbourne.
in Melbourne. And Tessa, I'll see you online somewhere.
Yes, thank you. Good night.
Bye. Ciao, Mata.
No.
じゃあまたね。
Bye.